Antiochus IV Epiphanes, a name etched in the annals of history, was born into a world of power and privilege. He was a scion of the Seleucid dynasty, rulers of a vast empire carved from the remnants of Alexander the Great's conquests. His father, Antiochus III the Great, presided over a realm stretching from modern-day Turkey in the west to Afghanistan in the east. Antiochus IV's birth, likely in the bustling capital of Antioch, marked the arrival of another player in the intricate game of Seleucid court politics. Little did anyone know that this prince would one day leave an indelible mark on the empire and beyond. His early years were likely spent amidst the splendor and intrigue of the royal court, surrounded by the trappings of power. The Seleucid Empire, though vast, was not without its challenges. Internal strife and external threats from rival kingdoms constantly tested the dynasty's grip on power. Antiochus VI's upbringing took place against this backdrop of political maneuvering and military campaigns. As a prince, he would have been acutely aware of the weight of his lineage and the expectations placed upon his shoulders. His education, entrusted to the finest tutors the empire could offer, would have been tailored to mold him into a future ruler, well versed in the arts of war and diplomacy. The education of a Seleucid prince was a multifaceted affair, designed to equip him for the demands of leadership in a complex world. Antiochus IV would have received instruction in a variety of subjects, from philosophy and rhetoric to military strategy and administration. His tutors, likely drawn from the ranks of the most learned men in the empire, would have instilled in him the importance of Greek culture and learning, a hallmark of the Seleucid dynasty. Physical training would have been another integral aspect of his upbringing. Skilled in horsemanship, swordsmanship, and the tactics of war, Antiochus IV was prepared for the martial demands of ruling a vast empire. He would have participated in hunts, a popular pastime amongst the Seleucid elite, honing his skills and demonstrating his prowess. The young prince would also have been exposed to the complexities of court life, learning the arts of diplomacy, negotiation, and political maneuvering. The Seleucid court was a melting pot of cultures and languages, and Antiochus IV's education would have included exposure to the customs and traditions of the diverse peoples under his father's rule. As Antiochus IV matured, the political landscape of the Seleucid Empire remained turbulent. His father, Antiochus III, engaged in a series of campaigns to expand the empire's borders, clashing with the Ptolemaic kingdom of Egypt in a protracted struggle for control of the eastern Mediterranean. In 190 BC, Antiochus III suffered a crushing defeat at the Battle of Magnesia against the Roman Republic, a rising power in the west. The Treaty of Apamea, which followed this defeat, imposed harsh terms on the Seleucids, severely curtailing their territory and influence. Antiochus IV, likely in his late teens or early 20s at the time, would have witnessed the humiliation of his father and the empire. This experience likely left an indelible mark on the young prince, shaping his worldview and his approach to foreign policy. In the aftermath of Magnesia, Antiochus III sent his son to Rome as a hostage, a common practice in the ancient world to ensure the compliance of defeated powers. Antiochus IV's time in Rome provided him with a unique perspective on the inner workings of the Roman Republic. He witnessed firsthand the power and ambition of this burgeoning empire, a stark contrast to the declining fortunes of his own dynasty. This experience would later influence his policies as he sought to restore the Seleucid Empire to its former glory. In 175 BC, following the death of his brother, Seleucus IV Philopator, Antiochus IV seized the Seleucid throne. His ascension was not without controversy, as he had to contend with rivals and secure his position through a combination of political maneuvering and military force. Upon assuming the reins of power, Antiochus IV inherited an empire still reeling from the defeat at Magnesia and facing numerous internal and external threats. The eastern provinces were in a state of unrest, with local rulers challenging Seleucid authority. The Ptolemies in Egypt remained a constant threat, eager to exploit any sign of weakness in their Seleucid rivals. Faced with these daunting challenges, Antiochus IV embarked on an ambitious campaign to restore the Seleucid Empire to its former glory, embarking on military campaigns, implementing administrative reforms, and promoting Hellenistic culture throughout his realm. Antiochus IV, Epiphanes was known for his ambitious military campaigns. He led several expeditions to expand his empire, including notable campaigns in Egypt and against the Jewish population in Judea. His military prowess and strategic acumen were evident in his ability to secure victories and expand his territory. However, his aggressive tactics and harsh rule also led to significant resistance and rebellion among the conquered peoples. In Egypt, Antiochus IV sought to assert Seleucid dominance over the Ptolemaic kingdom. His initial forays were successful, and he managed to capture key territories, demonstrating his military brilliance. However, his ambitions were ultimately checked by the intervention of Rome, which forced him to withdraw. In Judea, Antiochus IV's attempts to impose Hellenistic culture met with fierce resistance. His policies, which included the desecration of the Jewish temple and banning of traditional practices, sparked the Maccabean revolt. This rebellion would become a significant chapter in Jewish history, symbolizing the struggle against oppression and the fight for religious freedom. Antiochus IV's military campaigns showcased his ability to lead and conquer, but they also revealed the limits of his power. His aggressive strategies often provoked backlash, leading to uprisings that further destabilized his empire. Despite his successes on the battlefield, his reign was marked by constant conflict and unrest, a testament to the volatile nature of his rule. Ultimately, the campaigns of Antiochus V Epiphanes were a double-edged sword. They expanded the borders of the Seleucid Empire and demonstrated his capabilities as a military leader, but they also sowed the seeds of rebellion that would plague his reign. His legacy is a complex tapestry of triumph and turmoil, reflecting the ambitions and challenges of a king determined to restore his empire to greatness. The decline of Antiochus IV Epiphanes began with his failed campaigns and the growing unrest in his empire. His health deteriorated rapidly, and he became increasingly paranoid. Despite his efforts to maintain control, his reign ended in turmoil. Antiochus IV died in 164 BC, leaving behind a legacy of both grandeur and controversy. As his final days approached, the once ambitious king found himself besieged by the very forces he sought to conquer. The empire he had fought so hard to restore now seemed to slip through his fingers. His once vibrant court was now a shadow of its former self, filled with whispers of betrayal and rebellion. Antiochus IV's death marked the end of an era for the Seleucid Empire. His attempts to revive the grandeur of his ancestors were met with both triumph and failure. Though he left behind a legacy marked by both brilliance and brutality, his vision of a restored empire would continue to inspire and haunt those who followed. Gap 2S. The story of Antiochus IV Epiphanes serves as a testament to the complexities of power and the fleeting nature of glory. His life, filled with ambition and turmoil, remains a poignant chapter in the annals of history.